believe you are failing because you haven't found your purpose yet. But what if I told you that what destroys you is not the absence of meaning? It's the obsession with finding it where it will never be. We live anesthetized by false goals. From an early age, we are told that we need to become someone, leave a mark, change the world. We set deadlines. By 25, success. By 30, stability. By 40, recognition. And every year that passes without achieving these invisible goals turns into guilt, shame, and silent panic. The question begins to gnaw away at us. Have I wasted my life? And so we try to compensate. We strive. We work twice as hard. We try to be special. But it all stems from the same lie, that the meaning of life is out there, hidden in some grand achievement, waiting to be unearthed. Except it's not. It never was. The pain of not having done something with your life stems from the mistake of trying to prove your worth through results. You measure yourself by what you have achieved, how much you have been admired, how much you have exceeded expectations. But deep down, you know that this never fills you up, because each new achievement requires another, because the emptiness you feel has nothing to do with what is missing in the world. It has to do with what you have not yet accessed within yourself. I had to lose many illusions to see this. I needed to understand that life's greatest achievements are not seen, are not applauded, do not get likes. They happen in silence, within the mind and soul, and those are the ones that really matter. This video is a call for you to stop chasing versions of yourself that were never real, an invitation to start the only work that will never be in vain, the inner work. Because as long as you live for what is outside, everything will seem heavy, unattainable, and frustrating. But when you turn inward, even the greatest pains will begin to make sense. And maybe you'll discover, as I did, that it was never about becoming someone. It was about stopping pretending to be something you never were. The more I observed, the more I realized. The modern world seems obsessed with the idea of finding purpose. From an early age, we are trained to seek something that makes us special, a mission, a career, a mark on the world. And because we can't find it easily, we come to believe that we are failing, that we are wasting our lives. But this anguish stems from a fundamental mistake. We are looking in the wrong place. There is a colossal difference between inner work and outer work, the difference between feeling and doing, between living something in spirit and materializing it outside of ourselves. Inner work is immediate, silent, and deeply transformative. Outer work, on the other hand, requires means, conditions, approvals, and often it never comes to fruition. I understood that when I try to find my place in the world out there, I condemn myself to depend on variables that I can never control: time, luck, the mood of others, social acceptance, and the cruelest part, I start to believe that if I haven't achieved what I imagined, then I have failed as a person. It's a mental trap. I start to attribute an almost sacred value to external validation, as if my existence were only legitimate if the world confirmed it. Every frustration becomes proof that I'm still nobody. But philosophy and spirituality have always pointed in a different direction. The ancient Greeks already said, "Know thyself." The Bhagavad Gita talks about knowing that by which all things are known, the deep self. The truth is that reality is not out there. What we see in the world are only instances, imperfect copies of ideas. Every tree is just an image of the primordial tree. Every dog is just the manifestation of a universal idea. And the same goes for us. The essence of who we are is not in what we do, but in what we are when everything around us falls apart. The mistake is to try to prove the existence of the soul through achievement, to try to find meaning through approval. But the most liberating truth is this: nothing external has the power to validate us. The original idea of who we are already exists, and it does not need to be proven, only recognized. Most people spend their lives trying to answer essential questions outside themselves. Who am I? What is my purpose? What should I do with my existence? And they chase titles, positions, achievements, prestige, all in the hope that one day all of this will come with the right answer. But that never happens. Because these questions were not meant to be answered in the outside world. All the people who have truly changed the world for the better, all those who remain alive in the collective memory of humanity, were not those who sought fame or success. They were those who found meaning within themselves. They renounced the noise outside to follow something silent but non-negotiable that they discovered within themselves. Socrates, for example, was sentenced to death for doing just that. He questioned established beliefs, overturned fragile truths with simple questions, and even in the face of injustice, he chose to accept his punishment. He could have run away. He had the means. He had allies. But he didn't, because what he believed in was greater than his own life. He died as he lived, true to his inner truth, and his death was the most powerful confirmation that his words carried weight, proof that he believed what he said. Jesus followed a similar path. He did not seek the cross. It was a direct consequence of what he chose to reveal. He said that the kingdom of heaven was not a distant place, but a reality accessible here and now, through inner transformation. He spoke of love, forgiveness, detachment, and this deeply irritated those who lived trapped in external structures, because his words demanded a renunciation, giving up false idols, greed, ambition. His death was not a failure. It was a testimony. Like Socrates, he lived to the end in accordance with what he knew to be true. And there is another example closer to us in time and pain. Viktor Frankl, imprisoned in Nazi concentration camps, he lost everything: his pregnant wife, his career, his external identity. And yet he survived. And not just physically, he survived spiritually. He understood, there in that human hell, that everything can be taken from us except the freedom to choose how we will respond. And that the meaning of life is not in what happens to us, but in how we choose to respond. These three figures, Socrates, Jesus, and Frankl, showed me that the greatest achievements are invisible. They happen in the silence of the inner world, and once revealed, they make everything else irrelevant. Frankl saw what few human beings have been forced to see: the naked soul. In the concentration camp, surrounded by death, pain, and despair, he realized something brutal: the difference between those who clung to the outside world and those who had already found something greater within themselves. He saw men dying not only of hunger, but of emptiness. Men who believed they had lost everything because their identities were anchored in their work, their families, their status. When all that was taken away, nothing was left, only despair, anger, resentment. But he also saw others, in the same mud, under the same torture, giving away their last piece of bread, taking off their own shoes to warm someone shivering next to them, not because they were fools, but because they knew that what they really were could not be taken away, because they had made a silent choice, not to become like their tormentors. Frankl understood that hatred, anger, resentment are decisions, that giving in to them is losing the last freedom we have left, and he refused. He decided not to be consumed. He decided to keep the spark of humanity alive, not the one that depends on external circumstances, but the one that lights up in the dark. And that made me realize, life's great victories have no audience. They don't appear on Instagram. They don't guarantee status. They are invisible. They are internal. And for that very reason, they are greater than any trophy the world can offer. Frankl emerged from hell with a clearer purpose than many who live in comfort and distraction, because he understood that true loss is not in being stripped of everything, but in giving up on yourself. His victory was in refusing to hate, even with every reason in the world to do so. And that's when I realized that the most important work in life doesn't happen in the office, or in your career, or in applause. It happens when we choose under pressure to remain faithful to something invisible but true. When we decide, even without guarantees, to be kind in a world that seems to only reward brutality. That choice is what separates us from those who lose their way, and it is available to us at every moment. It doesn't matter what has been taken from us. What matters is what we choose to keep alive inside. Frankl showed me something I have never been able to forget. Pain is not the end. It is the gateway. When he saw people sharing their last piece of bread, offering their jackets to those who were shivering, he understood that there was something there that no external doctrine could offer, a kind of strength that did not depend on circumstances, time, or permission, a strength that only exists when we decide, with clarity, that our true self is not for sale. These people weren't just being nice, they were being immensely powerful, because they understood that true kindness isn't what you do when you have plenty, it's what you decide to be when only the essentials remain. It's easy to smile when everything is going well. It's hard to choose not to give in to hatred when it seems like the only emotional option available. And that's when something finally clicked inside me. True loss is not the loss of things, people, or positions. True loss is the loss of inner integrity. It's the moment when, wounded, you decide to fight back with the same weapon that hurt you. It's the moment when, trying to defend yourself, you become exactly what you swore you would fight against. That's why inner work is the only thing that really matters. It doesn't require tools, opportunities, or applause. It requires silence. It requires honesty. And above all, it requires courage. The courage to let go of the lies that kept you functioning in the old world, that success validates, that love protects, that control saves. The reality is that all of these things can fail, and they will. And when they do, you will need something that won't fall apart, something that doesn't depend on anything else, something you built in silence, while the world taught you to perform. That is the work of a lifetime. And it's not easy in the comfortable sense. It's easy because it's within reach, because no one can stop you from doing it. You can start right now, right this minute. Just stop running away from what you feel. Just stop justifying your resentment. Just admit that what you're looking for in the outside world is actually waiting for you, right here inside. Everything the world taught me about achievement, I had to unlearn. All the promises of success that were sold to me, I had to give back, because none of it took me inside. And that's where it all begins. There is only one kind of victory that no one can take away from you, the victory of becoming whole. But to get there, I had to give up a lot. I had to let go of the images that the world says matter, the goals, the status, the prefabricated dreams. I had to let go of the need to prove myself, because what is true never requires proof. What is real is already here, waiting to be discovered, not conquered. Yes, it takes effort, but not the kind of effort that exhausts you. It takes another kind of strength, the kind that comes when you decide to stop running away, when you look inside and say, I'm ready to let go of what was never true, ready to listen to what has always been whispering in silence, ready to live not how others want me to live, but how I truly am. And for me, that path became clear through reading and writing. They were the soil where my truths began to blossom. That's why I started sharing what I write, because I believe deeply that this inner work is not lonely. It can, and should, be done in community. Now, if this message has touched you, if something inside you has been awakened by these words, I invite you to support this channel. Like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss the next videos that will also hit home, right inside you. And if you want to contribute with any amount of support, know that it makes all the difference. Every gesture, no matter how small, strengthens this work and helps bring messages like this to even more people who, like you, are tired of superficial answers and are looking for something deeper. If you've made it this far, write the word truth in the comments. For me, it represents the beginning of everything. And if you feel that the time has come to begin this invisible work, the work that transforms, liberates, and rebuilds you from within, then I say to you, the truth is already within you, and it is calling you.